What's up, y'all? I'm back out here on the range, as you can see behind me, on a chilly Monday morning. I think mid-50s is all I'm gonna see out here today. It's that time of year though. I think all that last minute little warm spells is definitely behind us now, and this is what we got, and then colder from here on out. But as long as this sun sticks around and the wind stays gone, it ain't nothing I can't handle. I've got a full day of jelly testing planned for out here today, and we're gonna start it out small with some 22 LR. So the jelly contraption's ready to roll out here with the chronos and 2 freshly melted blocks of gel. No tests at all done on this one, so you get that really nice clear picture. Obviously, as you can see, I'm sticking with my heavy clothing barrier that's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt material. And once again, we got a couple of 22 LR rounds here. I've been getting quite a few comments lately on my videos to check out some more 22 LR, and it has been a while, so I figure we'll check out these 2 segmented rounds. Now, the Winchester Silvertip, I have tested these in the past, a 37 grain plated segmenting hollow point. There's your round there, plated, as you can see, plated projectile brass case. Now I've tested these again in several different barrel lengths and all. If you get too short with these right here, they definitely do not segment like they're supposed to. Even though these are formulated for shorter barrels, this is out of a 3.5 inch barrel that they're getting the 1,080 feet per second. Probably won't quite reach that, obviously, but it is made for shorter barrels. And then up against that, we're gonna try some of this CCI mini mag segmented HPs. These I haven't ever tested. Now you can see there, they look very, very similar, minus the plating that the Silvertip has. Same kind of shape, kind of a truncated design there. I think it may be a hair shorter on the Silvertip, obviously, because of the weight, but very, very similar design. Now these mini mags make no claims for being formulated out of a shorter barrel, so the velocity on this is saying 1235 with a 40 grain, so it's saying more speed with a heavier projectile, but I can guarantee you that's out of a longer barrel, out of a full-size rifle barrel. We're not going to see that, I can promise you that. These things I would be willing to bet are formulated for longer barrels, so we're not going to see that. It will be interesting though to see if these do move fast enough out of this shorter barrel to get them to segment like they're supposed to. And it's always a tough choice to figure out which tool to do these 22 LR tests, just because I've got so many chambered in 22 LR. But since this says 3.5 inch barrel, now that could be a revolver barrel. It's probably just a static test barrel, but since it's at 3.5, we're going to use the Taurus TX22 Compact here that has the 3.5 inch barrel. Now those of y'all know the difference between semis and revolvers. You're going to have about 1 inch of this when it's 22 LR actually taken up by the case, so effectively you're looking at about a 2.5 inch barrel, but this is what we're going to use since it's, you know, technically it is a 3.5 inch barrel. So all that being said, this should be an interesting test. Let me get this stuff set up and let's see what they can do. All right, y'all, let's see how fast these things are moving. I'm going to do a 5-round average on each one. We'll start with this Winchester Silvertip first. Now, remember, the box is saying 1,060. I'm guessing we're not going to see that, but I am guessing that these will be faster than those CCIs, even though the CCIs are claiming nearly 200 feet per second faster just because of the way this stuff is formulated. So 5-round average on each. If you're not familiar with this lab radar, you'll get multiple readings off of this thing. Your big number is going to be your muzzle velocity, and then the additional ones across the bottom are set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel's going to be, and then you got 10, 15, 25, and 50. I don't think we're going to see all the way out to 50. We may see 50 on this, but this radar doesn't like to pick up really, really small projectiles like this 22 or 223, stuff like that at a distance. So let's see what we get anyway. 5 rounds here, y'all. Got 1,017, and we did get our 50. 930. 1,051. 1,008. And 1,052. Didn't get that box velocity. We were really close on a couple of them, and these things seem to be all over the place. Let's check the average. All right, so our 5-round average on that was 1,012. The big issue was we had a high of 1,052 and a low all the way down to 930. So an extreme spread of 122 and a standard deviation of 49.6. I don't know what that really super low one was all about. I'll have a look and see if anything else looked out of whack, but I mean, it is rimfire, it is Winchester, but I don't think it would be that much of a spread, but who knows? I really didn't pay attention because all of this feels feels weak after testing the other stuff. So anyway, let's get this stuff reset and let's see what the CCI does. All right, let's see what this CCI does. Remember now, the box on this is saying 1235. We're certainly not going to see that because I'm pretty positive this stuff is not formulated specifically for shorter barrels, but I'm curious to see what it does do. Now, hopefully it doesn't have that crazy spread like the Silvertips do. Well, let's see what we get here from this 40 grainer. 981, 974, 1016, 970, and 1008. So much more consistent out of these right here. Not even close to that 1235, but again, I know exactly why and I didn't expect it. Let's check out the average on that. All right, so our 5-round average on that was 990 feet per second. Definitely a better extreme spread with 45 and a standard deviation of 20.7. Nothing spectacular still, but this is rimfire, so that to me, it doesn't seem out of line right there. But even still, the Silvertip was sure enough faster. This was 990. And again, if you remember on that Silvertip, it was 1012. So you're talking about 22 feet per second faster from the Silvertip, which if you just purely looked at the box and didn't look at what it's out of or anything, it should have been about almost 200 slower. So that's just another reason you can't look at the numbers on these boxes, because there's all kind of situations. There should be asterisks all over that stuff and then a whole list of conditions on the back, because very rarely does ammo actually hit the velocity listed on the box once you get it out here in the real world. But anyway, enough of that rambling. I'm really curious to see what these do, especially that CCI, since I haven't ever tested that. So let's get this stuff set up and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, let's break it up jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each round into the gel. We'll start with the Silvertip first. If I was gonna make any predictions here, I would say this Silvertip being right there at the speed that they advertise, I would say it's gonna segment like it's supposed to and break up nicely. The CCI, I've got my doubts on, because that's way off from what the box is saying, what we got from the short barrel like this. So let's see what it does though. Enough of that talking about it. All right, that should have been a perfect one right there. Let's go see what we got. All right, y'all, that's actually looking really nice down there in the gel. Now, one thing of importance I will mention here is that didn't eject. That round didn't cycle at all. It was, I was closed just like this, racked to slide, and it was still in the chamber. So I noticed that one was like 1017, so it was on the lower end. So take that for what it's worth. There was no problem cycling any of that 5 earlier, so who knows what that's all about. But let's see what this CCI does. Again, my guess on this is I just really don't think it's going to be moving fast enough to do what it's supposed to do, but hopefully I'm wrong on this, because I don't want it going into my other block for one thing. All right, hopefully that's good. Let's go see what we got with that. All right, y'all, let's check out what we got down here. I definitely underestimated this CCI segmenter down here, and it really does make sense now that you think about it. I mean, it's marketed as a varmint type round, so it really does make sense it would come all apart immediately, kind of like a VMAX. So I guess I was expecting something to keep carrying forward, which it doesn't claim that, so that was just me thinking wrong. But if we look up here first at the Silvertip, very nice performance from this thing. It segments just exactly like it's supposed to. Looks like, what is it, 3 pieces? I think 3 pieces that it breaks into as far as the segments. So drops those right here. Really nice disruption, carries on through here. Looks like it did tumble probably right there, because I think that core is sitting backwards, and it actually got some really nice penetration, surprisingly. And then again, back down here to the CCI, that thing broke apart immediately. It broke up big time, fragments everywhere. What looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 big ones ones and a few little ones here. So if that thing had more speed, it would probably look like a VMAX. It would probably look more like just a bunch of fragmentation rather than segmentation to me. But in any case, it did just what it was supposed to do. As far as defensive use, that's a big old no for me right there. But now varmint use, I guess either one of these would be fine, but that's probably a better choice, but as it's marketed for varmint use, just because you don't have that penetration like the Silvertip. But let's see how far this stuff went. So the Silvertip, the core of it went to exactly 14 inches. The three little segments from it, let's make sure we're lined up here. Those all are right at 3 3/4 inches, so really nice there. And then your CCI, the furthest segments, well actually two of them basically are at exactly the same. It's at 6 1/4 inches, and then the shortest one down here at 4. So anywhere between 4 and 6 1/4 inches on that CCI. And then here's your closer look. Again, Silvertip top, CCI on the bottom. Very, very different performance from these rounds, and they're marketed differently. The Silvertip is marketed as a defense round. This again is marketed as a varmint round, and both of them do just what they said. As you can see again, that Silvertip is actually really impressive to be out of the TX22 Compact, and there you can see the bulk of that base that was left. All right, y'all, let's check out these projectiles. I got them sitting down here just because there's so many pieces. This right here, this is the Silvertip. That's the core of it, and there's the 3 segments that broke off perfectly into 3 little pieces, and then this is that CCI. As you can see, I mean, it went all to pieces. You got a few bigger pieces here. I dug out what I could, and then a really chunky little piece right here, and I think there's 1 or 2 little tiny pieces still in there that I didn't bother fishing out of the disruption. But as you can see, very, very different in the way these two acted. Here's your closer look at that Silvertip core. As you can see, those segments break off absolutely perfectly and leave a nice little chunk there. And then the CCI, again, here's what that looks like. Kind of segments and peels them off into pieces like that. But let's get some measurements and see what we got there. Remember, the Silvertip started at 37. If we get to core here, that's 26.6. And then if we just add back all 3 of these little pieces here, I'll put them all 3 at the same time. With everything recovered, that gives you 36.8. So there's all your weight right there from the Silvertip. And then the CCI started at 40 grains, so we'll just add these one at a time. That one there gave us 13. This one here looks almost exactly the same. And sure enough, that gave us 26. If we put this piece here, that bumps us to 32.8. And then if we put this little chunky piece here, that bumped us on up to 38.7. So most of our material there, again, I can see a couple little specks left over in the gel from this one. Now, as far as measurements on them, this might be a little tricky. I'll try to give you a couple here. The Silvertip, obviously it's going to be base size. You got 222, and then the length on that last chunky piece is 273. And then the biggest sizes from the CCI are these kind of peel back, like banana peel looking pieces. If we get a width on these, you're looking at about 189, and then the length on them is going to be about 455. And there you have it, y'all, a couple of segmenting 22 LR rounds. Similar in the fact that they're both called segmenting, but very, very different in the way they actually perform. This Silvertip marketed as a short barrel defensive round, and the performance in the gel definitely shows that. Way better performance for self-defense use in my opinion. The CCI marketed as a varmint round, and again, the performance in the gel showed exactly that. Just that immediate segmentation, fragmentation, whatever you want to call it, and very, very little penetration. So definitely the more of a varmint type of round here. My choice, obviously, if we're talking self-defense based on this right here, it would be this Silvertip. If y'all would like to see me run these out of some longer barrels, let me know, and we'll see how this, especially this CCI stuff, does once you get it up to the advertised box velocity. All right, y'all, that does it for the first test of the day, and I think it was a pretty interesting one. I have to admit, I'm pretty surprised by the performance really from both of these out of that shorter barrel, because again, if you take into account the case length of about 1 inch, or the case and the projectile, 22 LR is right about 1 inch, so effectively you're working with a 2.5 inch barrel as far as the rifling right there. So really good performance. I didn't expect it to segment that good. The Silvertip, really nice performance as far as the defensive round. And the CCI, I think it surprised me even more seeing that segment at sub 1,000 like that. But let me know down in the comments what y'all's thoughts are on what you saw here today. And let me know again if you'd like to see me run this stuff out of longer barrels, especially that CCI, and see what it actually does once it gets up to speed. If you enjoyed the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and make sure you turn on your notifications so hopefully you get notified when I upload new stuff. Once again, if you're doing some shopping during this holiday season, check out my affiliate links down below in the video description. Anything you buy after hitting up those links down there, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel the way y'all do. I've got a few more interesting tests planned for out here today. As you can see, the sun was definitely not listening to me about sticking around because this done got behind the clouds. The temperature has dropped already just that quick, but I got me a little jacket out here, so I should be able to handle it. Y'all stay on the lookout for some good stuff headed your way, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.